Distributed cognition. On the right side of this slide, there is a visual that may help you better understand what distributed cognition entails. Distributed cognition stands behind the notion that cognition is not just in the head but in the world. In this theory, cognition is acquired through many different resources outside of the learner in a social or cultural context. Cognition is said to be distributed across objects, individuals, artifacts, and tools. The field of distributed cognition was established in the mid-1980s under its current name and was originally developed as a branch off of standard cognitive science. Distributed cognition grew out of the need to understand how cognitive processing could encompass tool use and the involvement of other people. Cognition is not just influenced by culture and society, but it is more of a cultural and social process. There are three major ways cognitive processes are distributed. Cognitive processes can be distributed within a social group, between materials or the environment, and throughout time. When cognitive processes are distributed throughout time, earlier events can influence later events. Distributed cognition focuses on pursuing goals in collaboration with the social and material world. Edwin Hutchins obtained his PhD in anthropology from the University of California at San Diego. After completing his postdoctoral work in anthropology, he became curious about clarifying the relationship between the ideas of cognition as a mental activity and cognition as an activity that occurs in a social setting using different types of tools. In the early 1980s, Edwin started working at the Navy Personnel Research and Development Center. He went aboard Navy ships to experience bridge navigation and used his research to help improve the Navy's radar navigation training program. He later switched his focus to aviation and studied cognition in the flight decks of domestic and private planes. He then helped improve aviation safety programs with his findings. More information on Edwin Hutchins' research can be found in his book, Cognition in the Wild. The distributed cognition theory contributed to a greater interest in collaboration. Collaborative technologies started to become increasingly helpful for computer-supported work, especially for education purposes. The theory strengthened cognitive processing theories by introducing tools that enhanced intellectual processing outside of the brain. The theory also helped a variety of people solve problems by using interactions between people and technology to come up with solutions. Hutchins' success with the Navy and aviation safety training programs were also contributions of the distributed cognition theory. Two related theories that address the importance of the social and cultural aspects in cognitive development are situated cognition theory and interactional theories of cognitive development. In the situated cognition theory, what people perceive, think, and do develops in a social setting. The originators and proponents of this theory include John Seely Brown, Alan Collins, and Paul Dugwood. Interactional theories of cognitive development state that reference to social and cultural context within which development is embedded leads to an understanding of individual development. The originators of this theory include Vygotsky and Bruner. Some of the ways that distributed cognition shows relevance to teaching and learning of adults includes when going beyond designing instruction for the individual learner, when looking at the functionality of training programs in the workplace to see if necessary skills are being taught and transferred to real-world settings, when analyzing the collaborative nature of a classroom environment, when searching for objects, individual artifacts, and tools that can enhance instruction and distribute cognition socially and culturally. There are several ways that I think distributed cognition is important. Distributed cognition is important because, when designing instruction, it is essential to have an understanding of the work that goes beyond the individual, to look at how groups coordinate information with one another, and the collaboration that is needed to perform problem-solving tasks. In the field of education, using tools and artifacts to help with understanding in a social setting has a high impact on the retention of information. Thank you for listening to my presentation on distributed cognition, and I hope this clears some things up